we've been working through the words of the mission statement, and this Sunday we're looking at everyone's. And what is everyone? Who is everyone? We looked at divinity and we looked at experience the last 2 weeks. And our next week, so you have a preview for August, is simply. So there is a simplicity to the spiritual path. When we were looking at experiencing, we looked at this notion of genuine, unconditional delight with another, which I didn't plan as an acronym, but people came up to me after service and said, you know, it's an acronym, it's Gouda. Sort of like the cheese, only not quite. This notion of genuine, unconditional delight with another. Genuine, unconditional delight with another means that you're sincere. It means the experience you have for that other one is an experience of delight, and it's with another, and that another could also be you. Where we need to go to work if we want to do this work. If we choose to do this work, where we go to work is where there is non-delight. I'm going to go in deep because the notion of everyone, I want to push you in a position where it might be a little uncomfortable, but uncomfortable in an acceptable way, so that you know that there's some work here to do. There's some work here for us to do. This week, an ex-IRA commando met with Queen Elizabeth. Now, this is also something that, for me, growing up, I just had come to understand. The Irish-British conflict was just something that we had to put up with. That it was just something that was never quite ever going to get resolved or solved. So this was a big deal. And it was a big deal for me personally to know, okay, maybe I can be wrong about the forever quality about the Northern Ireland conflict. Maybe that actually can become a land of peace, rather than my thinking, just because it was so present in the media that the Irish Catholics and the Irish Protestants were going to kill each other forever. And it's the 15th anniversary of the Rwandan genocide. The weapon of choice was the machete. And in 100 days, over 1 million people were murdered in 100 days. That's 10,000 people killed each day. That's 400 every hour. That's 7 every minute. That's 1 every 8 seconds. That's another one. The issue was the Tutsi and the Hutus were in opposition. The Tutsis were the minority ruling class whose ethnic group's name stands for people who own cattle. And the Hutus' ethnic group name stands for servants. So their ethnic group name is servants, and the other groups is the ones who own cattle. So it's 15 years later, and I'm listening to NPR, and there's a mother's story on the radio. So a 14-year-old boy was running away from the militia that was running through the streets. He was a Tutsi boy. He's running away, and he hid in the backyard of his neighbor, who was a Hutu woman. And the Hutu woman told the militia that he was there. And they came and found him, and they took him out in the street, and they killed him. And the story on NPR was of the boy's mother, who was this woman's neighbor, who had known her the entire time that this kid was growing up. And they reconciled. They reconciled. The mother of the dead boy forgave the woman who turned her son over to the militia. That, when I was listening to that on the radio, it hit me like a physical object hit me. Because I thought to myself, I don't know that there's anything that could possibly be worse than losing a child. As something happens to me, I know personally I can recover. Even if you cut me and chopped off my hand, I know that I can recover from that. But the killing of a child, you've eliminated that person from the planet. There is no recovery from being killed. It's not like you can recover from that. And to hear that this mother had been gracious to forgive this woman, it hit me in a way that I never quite got this notion of forgiveness, because it's like, who is there that I couldn't possibly forgive in the wake of that? In the wake of that, who could I say, well, yeah, but they really were nasty to me. They really hurt my feelings. They stole from me. They cheated me out of money. And I'll never forgive them for that. I can't see that I have a right to hold that kind of animosity in the wake of that story. She kind of stole from me. She stole my ability to hold on to my self-righteousness about that thing that hurt my feelings. Hearing a mother's story of forgiveness of a woman who had her son murdered was a gift for me, and I hope you'll consider it a gift for you. So our practice this month is forgiveness. I know it's absolute. Forgive everyone. Jesus once was asked, what is the great commandment? And Jesus said, hear, O Israel, the Lord your God is one. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. This is the first and greatest commandment. The second is, he boiled it, he said you don't need 10, you need 2. Don't need 10, you need 2. The second is, love your neighbor as yourself. Love God, love your neighbor. How you love your neighbor is forgive your neighbor. Forgive your neighbor for everything. And then, whether or not you hear them say the words, whether or not they say, I forgive you, hold in your heart the notion of the possibility that they forgive you as well. Hold in your heart the notion that they forgive you. You're forgiven by everybody for everything. Hold in your heart this notion of you are forgiven for everything. And what it does is it transforms you. Forgiveness transforms you.